all-time post-game rant in the NBA G League than Ballou from CBS Austin joining us to talk Texas sports. And we got top plays, top bounces of the week. You're going to want to watch those. This is the 1-0 Sports Show. Texas finally 1-0, finally riding for the brand, although Tom Herman did say they were 1-0 10 times last season.
Feinbaum, I'll give him like half a point. Dude, you like
okay. Feinbaum way too much.
Yeah, all right. I'm like I'm the Feinbaum of this show.
By the way, that looks Ohio State. Is that an omen? Give me that Longhorn hat.
Oh man!
Hook him, baby.
All right, he's pulling the torso.
Hello and welcome into the 1-0 Sports Show. I'm your host, Thomas Fitch, joined alongside by Adam Ogburn, Jake Herman. And you might be watching this saying, 3 people at the desk. That's never happened before. Well, little switch up. That's what they call in showbiz. A little change up.
We're multiplying.
Multiplying. We are multiplying. I'm now the host. We're basically first take now. We're basically first take now. I'm Molly. I don't know which of y'all wants to be Max, which of y'all is Stephen A. We might figure that out as we go. All right, so let's get started. Who's hot, who's not? Jake, we'll get started with you.
Yeah. Who's hot this week? Guy by the name of David Ayers, a 42-year-old former minor league hockey goalie turned Zamboni driver, got to turn back into a hockey goalie when the emergency goalie protocol had to be activated when the Carolina Hurricanes goalies, Peter Mrazek and Robin Leonard, went down with injuries. Ayers entered the game in the second period, saved 8 out of the 10 shots that he faced in a Hurricanes win, 6-3 over the Maple Leafs. Ayers became the oldest goalie in NHL history to win in his debut. Guys, what a story.
I mean, when I saw it, I was like, there's no way that's true. A Zamboni driver.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Zamboni driver who saved, 8 shots?
Yes, it's a fantasy.
Unreal. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm sure the guy has played a good amount of hockey before, but it's still, right. I mean, you put me out there and you're hitting 100-mile-an-hour slap shots, and here's the goal. Take it.
Yeah.
Take it.
It's a piece of Swiss
all
cheese.
Yours. Yeah. It's going right through me.
Yeah, true underdog story, really. I mean, he started, like they said during the second period, he was just sitting in the stands watching like every other fan. And suddenly an hour later, he's right there facing those slap shots. So just an incredible story.
Oh, there's going to be such a good 30 for 30 on that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, so many great stories from emergency goalies.
All right, Jake, who's not?
Who's not? Replays at the end of college basketball games. You know them. You probably don't love them. And if you don't love them, you definitely did not love them on the Big Ten Network the other night when Maryland took on Minnesota. Take a look at the clock there. 45 seconds left in the game. You can't see it. But that 45 seconds turns into 19 minutes of real time because of 3 lengthy replay reviews.
And that we have the whole 19 minutes on the show, right?
Yeah.
Plot twist, if you're watching this, that's all we're doing today.
Like you can see that they're running out of things to show. So let's show all 3. The officials, the sideline. And then, we're back in action. Only lasted about 15 seconds. We got another review. Richard Pitino doesn't like the call. You got to take a look. There's unlimited challenges. There's no parameters on how long or short these can take or how many they can have. And a thrilling game all of a sudden turns into this frame by frame. Now we're back in action, ensuing play. That's all that happens before we get another review because Maryland is asking for it. I don't know, guys. I think we need to curb this a little bit. There's no reason 45 seconds should take 19 minutes.
19 minutes.
That's commercial free, by the way. Those 19 minutes, I should add. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like after, sometimes these reviews take 3, 4, 5 minutes. It's like after you've looked at it for 4 or 5 times, if you can't tell it, just stick with the call on the floor because you're just ruining the rhythm of the game. The players are getting cold out there, and so I think it's much better. We need to speed this up.
Yeah. What are you going to see by looking at it for longer? It's not like you're getting more angles.
Yeah, either a time limit on the review, maybe restricting the scope of things that can be reviewed. There's a lot of ways that this could be fixed. This doesn't have to happen in the tournament, but it will this year, obviously.
Yeah. All right, Adam, who's hot for you?
Going across the pond for this one, Liverpool is hot in the Premier League.
Talking soccer.
Yes. They've won 18 games in a row now in the league. That's a new league, tied for the league record. They'll have a chance to break it this Saturday. But they're 44 unbeaten in the league. They're 22 points clear at the top of the table. And they just keep finding ways to win games, winning late on. Sadio Mane, Roberto Firmino with a couple of late goals here. They scored in the 80th minute against West Ham, coming back from 2-1 down to win 3-2. They just keep finding ways to win. They've got a potent front three in Mo Salah, Roberto Firmino, and Sadio Mane. They've got one of the best defenders in the world in Van Dijk, one of the most charismatic managers in Jurgen Klopp. This is a team that's set up to be successful for a long time, and they're smashing Premier League records at it.
That's crazy. I'm going to be completely honest. I had no idea. I had no idea they're 22 points clear. I'm a strictly Spanish soccer guy, and even at that, I don't know that much. But 22 points clear, that's a lot of points clear.
That's a lot of points. It's just their season. It seems like everything's finally coming together for them, and they fight. They play together. It's really been fun to see.
And the crazy thing, they haven't won a title in over 30 years. They've never won a Premier League title, so this is really their year.
Wow. All right, who's not?
Coming back over to stateside, talking about dynasties, the Pats dynasty. That's who's not, because all the talk about the Combine this week is about Tom Brady.
Yep.
And yesterday, ESPN's Jeff Darlington came on the air. He said that he would be stunned if Brady ended up back in New England. So, is this the end of the Patriots dynasty?
Here we go.
It's over. I mean, yeah. I mean, we've talked about this so much on the show, and like it's the question of like, who was the was it all Belichick? Was it all Brady? And I can't remember who I was talking to the other day, but I think we were kind of saying like it's kind of a chance for both of them to prove it was, was it all my coaching? Was it all my playing?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's probably a pretty mutual decision where they're both saying, let's see what we can do by ourselves. But
I don't know. I don't think the defense is going anywhere. I don't think the Patriots are really going anywhere. I expect Bill Belichick to have sort of a late career evolution, maybe a change in philosophy that maybe goes along with what Nick Saban did at Alabama in terms of opening up that offense. That's an option he might have now, getting maybe a younger, more mobile quarterback than Tom Brady. I don't think the Patriots are going to go anywhere. That's kind of my bold prediction on that.
Do y'all think, they would have to, I guess they could sign a free agent, but I would imagine that they would probably try to sign or draft a quarterback.
Possibly trading up.
You think they would trade up in the first round?
That'd be a little bit un-Patriots, though. Maybe they would trust their sleepers, maybe get a third or a fourth round guy that can come in and blow his expectations out of the water.
If Tua is there at 32, do you think they pick him?
Yeah, I think so. For the raw talent he's displayed, he's come in like as a freshman. He led Alabama to that national championship, coming right off the bench. So he's proven that he can win big games, and he'd be put into a situation immediately where he could win games and contend for Super Bowls.
And obviously, too, a high character guy, fan friendly, would be a great guy to have as your new face of the franchise, in my opinion.
Now, where do y'all think Brady ends up if he does leave?
L.A., Vegas, maybe one of those destinations. Yeah. Chargers and Raiders, I know, will be looking for quarterbacks in the offseason.
Colts linked too.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That would be funny. Colts, considering all the old Brady Manning rivalries that happened.
Certainly be interesting. We'll see. All right, up next, delete your Twitter. This is a long time coming. I don't think we've ever had Aggie Barstool delete your Twitter, but it's about time. It's gotten to the point, and you can see what happened here. Texas A&M Barstool tweeted out, at least we don't have a curfew, and or imagine having a curfew, and then what was it? Imagine paying for college, and then Barstool A&M. This. I think everybody's seen this quote. Give me a bunch of cadets or whatever, and we'll win a battle. But give me the A&M Corps, and we'll win the war. Well, then Army comes back. They're like, hey, by the way, nobody has ever confirmed this. Which, that makes me, because, the number of times I've seen this quote, I'm like, yeah, General Patton, whatever. And then, everybody in the comments is yeah, he didn't say that. So, and it's gotten to the point where when you look at Twitter, and, there are Aggie fans who are Texas A&M Barstool is bad. That's when you know. That's when you know. When Aggie fans are turning on their own, that doesn't happen much.
Well, and Barstool Longhorn has turned on one of its own. They've tweeted out a picture of Shaka Smart probably once a week this semester. That's got a little old too.
Maybe deservedly.
I don't know, but it's definitely more deserved than the trash talk coming over from College Station.
Right.
Barstool A&M just. I feel like I facepalm every other tweet.
They're the kings of trash talk, though. That's
they are. They stay relevant. They stay relevant, but not necessarily for the right reasons. All right, speaking of staying relevant, not much you hear about G League going viral, but Wisconsin head coach Chase Buford, actually the son of Spurs owner R.C. Buford, after a loss, they blew a 21-point lead to, who is it, Grand Rapids?
Yes.
He had this to say after the game. He wasn't happy.
The officiating definitely went right for Grand Rapids. That was as unprofessional as a officiating performance. And I hope you tweet this out and tag the league because that was embarrassing. Matt Rafferty is a clown. That being said, we have to be so much better at the end of games. We can't blow a 21-point lead with 12 minutes to go. However bad and biased and unfair and illegal and cheating the referees are, we have to be better closing games. And so that's the way I feel.
Yeah, it's so funny because it's the 21-point blown lead, and he blames the refs, and it's like, look, man, you've been in basketball long enough to know that blowing a 21-point lead is never just the refs.
No, it's not. And even though the foul disparity was 8-3 against them in the fourth quarter, I mean, that's not outrageous.
That's not that bad.
There have been teams on bigger stages that have been arguably more cheated, and they were able to handle it with more grace, with more at stake. There's no reason for that outburst, right?
It's G League. I mean, come on.
G League regular season, but hey, he got the attention off the fact they blew a 21-point lead.
Yeah, I don't know if as a G League coach that's the attention you want. I mean, as a G League coach, you're kind of in the same mindset as a G League player. You're just trying to do whatever it takes to get to the next league, and I don't exactly think that owners are just looking for a viral guy.
Yeah.
Or they're not even necessarily looking at the team's record. They're looking at how the team is playing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Whether they have the skills to make it at the next level. It's a regular season game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Well, R.C. Buford needs to rub off a little bit on his son. But I tell you what, R.C. Buford, he knows what he's doing with the Spurs. He knows what he's doing, despite the record. All right, when we come back, Ballou, the sports guy at CBS Sports Austin. He's going to be joining us talking Texas athletics. Stick around. Welcome into the 100 Sports Locker Room. We're here. That was a cool little intro. And of course, we are taking your questions from the crowd, and we're starting off with the legendary Steve Helwick at S_Helwick. He asked this question: who will be back first, Fat Sal's, which closed down last year on Guad, or Texas men's basketball?
Man. I mean, Texas men's basketball. Because the rents on Guad are going one way, and Texas basketball is going a little flatter.
Yeah, 100%. And they have no seniors on the roster this year, so a lot of returning players.
There it is. Next question from Steve. This is just a fun one. What piece of fruit can you throw the farthest?
Ooh. I feel like an apple's got the right weight.
Apples are fun to throw.
I was gonna say maybe something smaller, like an orange or a plum, but I feel like if you're squeezing that, it's all over your hand. It's not getting as much
Apple's got
distance.
a good weight to it.
Got a great weight.
Yeah, I gotta go orange or kiwi. I think they'll have a hard enough on the cover, and you can.
Kiwi on the
figure it
roll.
out.
Kiwi on the roll. Okay, so my first thought was apple because obviously good weight, fun to throw. But I had this idea: a pear, and you throw it like one of those Nerf footballs and launch it.
Ooh.
There you go. Just a
What are
thought.
the laces? What are the laces?
You don't need the laces. I mean, you don't use the laces on a Nerf football. It's a pear. It's small. I don't know. We'll have to test that out. Maybe we'll.
For sure.
Yeah, go. Y'all go home.
Apparently not.
Oh my gosh, Jake. Next question from @GooberP. He says, will the south end zone at DKR be completed by the 2020 season, and how is seating going to work there? I think we kind of all know it'll be 2021, and seating it's going to be mostly suites and boxes.
Right, I don't think that'll be student seating. I think they'll have those new seats available for the loyal paying alumni who will be populating DKR for years to come.
Yeah, that'll be ready by 2021. All right, next question. This is from @JustinMorris_Texas. First one. Gosh, this is such a tough question, but such a good question. What is the Mount Rushmore of Texas athletics?
I feel like you gotta go Earl Campbell, right?
Yeah.
Maybe Mac Brown.
Interesting.
Anyone else want to throw some people out there?
I could see.
I mean,
Vince
Vince. You got to put
Vince.
VY. You got to put VY. I mean, you can't if you're gonna put Mac. You have to have Darrell Royal. I almost think you take off Mac Brown. You gotta look at. It's just. I mean, it's hard because, for us, we just think the last like 20 years. The last 20 years. It's KD, it's Vince, it's Colt, it's Mac. It's those people. But you look at like what Cat Osterman has done.
Yeah.
You look at Jody Conrad was such an incredible coach.
I was gonna put in a vote for Sonia Richards-Ross.
Yeah. Sonia Richards-Ross, yeah. And so I think if it's athletes, maybe Earl Campbell, Sonia Richards-Ross, Vince Young,
Charlie Strong.
that dude was a person at Texas.
Was at Texas.
He was at Texas. Yeah. Well. Tweet at us your own Mount Rushmore prediction. See if you agreed with what we said. Next thing from Justin Morris said, "Is there a justifiable reason to keep Shaka around outside of his contract?"
Yes, because the team he'll get one more year with all his players. Because they have one walk-on that's graduating this year. Everyone else is going to be returning as long as Jericho doesn't leave for the NBA draft. So I think you could say if they get this 3-game win streak, if they keep going up, if they can probably take 2 out of their last 3, I think you can say there's enough growth there, especially with the injuries to Sims and Febres and Liddell, that you can say, okay, we'll give you 1 more year.
I agree with you there. If they end with a whimper, there's probably nothing that can justify keeping Shaka Smart in my book. But if they can find a way to make some noise and at least make a competitive bid for one of those last 4-in spots in the tournament, then maybe you keep Shaka Smart. And there's also the Greg Brown story. 5-star recruit, one of the best power forwards in the nation, right here from Vandergrift High School in Austin. More likely to come to Texas if Shaka Smart's head coach. In fact, his dad said he will not come to Texas if Shaka Smart is fired. You don't want to base your program around one recruit, but it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, that's what I was going to bring up is the fact that, Greg Brown is an incredible player and says he'll only come to Texas if Shaka Smart is here and probably is leaning towards coming to Texas with Shaka Smart. But again, it comes down to what is the value of one player. But also, you bring up a good point that they also have a lot of players coming back. We've seen how, a lot of players have developed. Sims has developed. Coleman has definitely increased and improved this year. Next up, from John Kelly, our boy John Kelly at JK Astronomy, the Marlins have a perfect record in spring training. He asked, though, does this mean that they're going to break their playoff drought? They haven't been to the playoffs since 2003. We all know what spring training records mean, right?
No. Next question.
Are we all in agreement there?
Yeah. I mean, the Browns went undefeated in the preseason before.
Yeah. Preseason means nothing. Sorry to all those Miami people out there. We're going to jump down to Daniel Shee, at Daniel_Shee. 88. Did Karen Aston save her job beating TCU at TCU on Wednesday?
No, because it wasn't in danger anyway. I don't think she's on the hot seat yet. I don't really buy into the fact that Karen Aston's job should be in too much danger. I think that she should be afforded much more leeway than she's being afforded by some of us here in the student media as of late. That's my take on that.
No, 100%. She's won, I think, at least 22 games in her last 6 seasons. She's got them constantly in the tournament. They've made a couple of Sweet 16s and Elite 8 under her tenure. I think we saw this kind of with Rick Barnes. You got to be careful what you wish for because a tournament bid every year is real nice. So we've seen with men's basketball over the past couple of years, when you get greedy, it doesn't always work out for you.
Yeah, you can take that for granted. And my point on this is always, who are you going to get that's better? And I can't see them getting anyone better at this point than Karen Aston. But
I think they'll be a tough out. I really do.
I agree. And that was what Bob was talking about. I mean, a good win against Tennessee, good win against Stanford. They clearly have the capabilities to beat some of these teams. It's just a question of will they do it.
Right. And I talked about last week on Crossfire, though, how the one thing I would love to see from Aston this year, more halftime adjustments. They have not been doing a good job coming back from deficits.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens there. Thank you for your questions. When we come back, what's trending, top plays of the week, and the picks for the weekend. Stick around. Welcome back into the 1-0 Sports Show. And now joining us from CBS Austin Sports, Bob Ballou. Bob, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right, so you're with me, Jake Herman, Adam Ogburn. And just first question, how have you seen, in your time covering Texas athletics, how have you seen them change just kind of over your time of covering them?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I've been here 13 years now, and I don't know if that makes me an old or not. I may be an old at this point. I'm 41, so I figure we're getting up there. Jeff Barker, our TSTV alum,
That's right.
and current CBS Austin Sports Weekend anchor and reporter, always calls me an old, so I assume I'm old now. It's changed the time. When I got here in 2007, it was it was when everything was as good as it could be. 2008, 2009, it was Mac and Augie and Rick just pummeling everyone they played, and going to College World Series and going to the National Championship game and going to Elite Eights and from 2000 2009 it was incredible, and from 2010 to now it's just been very poor for what people expect of Texas athletics. So to see the change from DeLoss Dodds, to move from him to Steve Patterson, which was just an unmitigated disaster, other than he got beer at games. That's pretty much going to be his legacy. And then it went to Mike Perrin to kind of stabilize things, and now it's obviously thriving a little more with Christo Conti. It's been a complete and total roller coaster, and but for us in the media, it's a lot of fun to cover because really good or really bad, there are a lot of really good stories to tell.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, speaking of really good, Texas baseball off to an undefeated start thus far this season. What has encouraged you the most about the way they're playing? Yeah,
look, certainly, no matter how you look at it, no matter how good or bad the teams they've played are, which, when you go to Rice to open up a season as good as Rice has been in baseball forever under Wayne Graham, you just expect that to be a big deal. Matt Braga comes over from Tennessee Tech, where Texas beat them in the Super Regional. He goes to Rice, and they're not very good this year. Rice and Stanford actually have combined 1-14 this year, which is hard to believe. Wow. But you expect that to be a little bit better. A little bit better win, but they are good wins. Every win's a good win. So when you start 9-0, it's a great start to the season. This weekend is going to be the first true test that they'll face. The first real baseball I think they'll play this year to kind of give them a gauge of where they are right now. And if they were to go 1-2 or 0-3 this weekend, I don't think that sends red flag signals about this team. I just think this is going to be a process. There are a lot of young players on this team. What I'm most interested to see, I think we can kind of see that they can pitch. That's been pretty evident to this point. I'm interested to see, over the long term, can they consistently hit the ball? They're averaging only 5 runs a game. They only have a couple guys that are hitting over 300. Obviously, Duke Ellis and Austin Todd are off to great starts. There are a couple other guys that haven't had the consistency at the plate that are hitting over 300, but for the majority, this has been an issue for a while. I want to see if they can produce the consistent offense that maybe they haven't been able to over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Because I think that opening weekend, if I'm not wrong, if I'm not mistaken, they hit 5 home runs against Rice. They only have 2 in their 6 games since. So, and again, home runs and batting average, that's not everything in college baseball, but I just want to see if they can consistently produce runs. And right now, 5 runs a game's okay. It's not great, but again, the competition they played hasn't been that great either. So that's why I would say if there's a concern or a gauge of interest that I want to see over the next few weeks, it's how they produce offensively.
Yeah, and obviously this weekend will be a big test of that. If you had to make a prediction as to the outcome of the series with Missouri, who do you have winning the series?
So I think I don't know, these first 2. They get LSU tonight, which is going to be so much fun in Houston for the people that if you could get down there and go to this series, this is going to be incredible because they get LSU tonight, Arkansas tomorrow, and Missouri on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I just to get to play that caliber of competition this early in the year, it's what David Pierce does well. This gives them a true sense of test. It gives them a true idea of who they are. They get Cal State Fullerton next weekend. They're going to play Houston. They're going to play Texas A&M. He puts good teams on this schedule. So while a lot of people are kind of knocking who they've played to this point, and that's why they're not ranked to this point, I'm really curious and really interested to see how they compete tonight against LSU and how they compete tomorrow against Arkansas. Because LSU is ranked 11 and Arkansas is ranked 6. And again, it just gives you that true gauge. I don't know if I have a prediction just because I don't know that we've seen enough from this team to have a real idea of who they are. And again, no matter what happens this weekend, I think it's just going to be a good test for them and a good kind of lesson for who they are moving forward.
Yeah, Bob, I know you're an unbiased.
Was that a good way to skirt giving a prediction?
That's great. That's great. Yeah, we love that.
Trying to give a prediction.
Well, and you're a Missouri alum. Will you have any rooting interests on Sunday?
It's really funny. So I grew up bleeding burnt orange. My parents went to Texas. I grew up just living and dying Texas. And then when I came down here to go to school, whoever was there that day said you should really look at Missouri for broadcast journalism. And I went up there and I loved it. And I would have never thought in my life I'd leave Texas for anything. And I just loved Mizzou. And the first few years I was there, I would wear a Texas hat and a Missouri shirt to games. Everybody would give me a really hard time. The only rooting interest I have anymore, obviously I root for Mizzou because I went there. The real rooting interest I have is against my parents. That's pretty much it. We still have a fun time kind of going back and forth with it. But it's really hard, honestly. The hardest part of this, for me always, the hardest part of this job, especially now as you grow older, I feel like you kind of get away from how much once you're in the media for a long time, how much you really care about the outcome of games. I kind of root for people a lot more now than I used to, and I obviously love David Kears. He's a great man. He's doing a great job. Obviously had a setback last year, but I really think he's going to do good things for this program. But I just like him as a person, and so it's really hard for me to root against somebody that I really like, even if it's my alma mater. Now, when I was in your shoes, I could have never thought that way. I couldn't understand how people could think that way. But again, maybe it's just the old in me. It's just something I've kind of learned over the years that I really do root for people a lot more than I used to.
Yeah, and let's look at softball real quick. Huge win over UCLA. They're 17-2 on the season, ranked third. I'm sure they'll probably make a jump. They have number 2 Washington coming up. But would you have to agree that the ceiling is a national championship appearance and trying to actually do that?
Oh yeah, I think Oklahoma City's. That's certainly in sights for this team. They were a game away last year, losing Game 3 in Alabama to Alabama in the Super Regional. I think Mike White's incredible. What he's done in just a couple of years, and this isn't Connie Clark did a lot of good things while she was at Texas, but to see what he's done so immediate, to see how good these players are and what they've obviously some of them had played for him, but to take to what he's doing so quickly, a win like that last night, you're going to lose games. They lost 1-0 to Duke last week.
Right.
They lost to Louisiana in a doubleheader. You're going to lose games. That's just the nature of the beast. But when you think about what they did last night to go on the road against the number 1 team in the country, to be up 4-2 and give up a 2-run homer, and then still come back and find a way to win with 2 solo shots in the 8th, it's just a great sign. We talked a lot early in the season. We talked a lot about signs. This is a great sign for who they can be. And it's not that it was unexpected. I think everybody expected this team to be pretty good. But when you do something like that, if they can come back and win tonight against number 2 Washington, this tournament they're going to play in Fullerton, I think that would be another just incredible sign for who this team can be.
Bob, we're going to transition to basketball here for a little bit. Both men and women's teams, they're on the bubble. They're searching for that tournament appearance. Which has a better chance of actually getting in? And if either gets in, can they actually do anything in the tournament?
Well, that's a great question. If you're only going to give me one team to get into the tournament, I'm going to take the women. Mm-hmm. I just think they have they have some bigger wins. They have a better opportunity to finish the season on a really strong note. I think they're 17-10. I know they play Baylor again on the road, so they're not going to win that game most likely. But other than that, they'll have a pretty good opportunity. I'm a big believer that they can do something in the tournament. If I had to pick a team to do something, I would say them just because they beat number 1 Stanford. They beat Tennessee. They've had some good wins. They've just been so inconsistent. At the start of January, I think they won 4 or 5 in a row. and you got the feeling, okay, this is who Karen Aston expected them to be. Before the season, I said, when will you know who this team is? And she said, not until January, because they had so many injuries going into the year. They had so much inconsistency. And she felt like at the beginning of January, okay, this is who they are. And then they just kind of fell apart, and now they're kind of coming back. I don't know. The other side of it is what Shaka Smart's done. And, you look at the 3 wins that this 3-game win streak they're on, and you've got to be excited for them. You've got to be excited for Shaka because he's trying to get this team into a good position. But TCU and Kansas State just aren't very good. I thought the win Monday night against West Virginia was good, but West Virginia's been atrocious on the road. So they had to have it, obviously. And now they're 17-11. They've given themselves a chance. But to expect them to go to Texas Tech tomorrow and win is probably a little much. To expect them to go to Oklahoma next week, even if Oklahoma's not great this year, it's a lot to ask to go on the road and win these games. I think they pretty much have to go 2-1 in the next 3 games to close out the season, and probably win. I don't know if they have to win 2 in Kansas City, but they've at least got to win 1 to give themselves a chance to get in the tournament. I don't know how realistic this is. I don't know that these last 3 games have been enough for everybody to go, okay, this is a team that can really make a run. I think that the level of competition they've played is a lot lower, and again, they just don't have a marquee win. West Virginia is going to be what they have to hang their hat on, and I don't know that that's not a premier win. They needed a win against a Baylor or a Kansas or someone earlier in the year. Their non-conference schedule wasn't good at all. So I just think they're going to have a real tough time making the tournament without some kind of unexpected run over these last 5 or 6 games.
So Bob, talking about Texas men's basketball, how have you seen the attitude towards Shaka Smart change over his tenure? And do you think kind of the doubt and question regarding his job status, is that justified?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, when you're in year 5 and you haven't won a tournament game, and it's all of those things are very tough. I think the most interesting part of the Shaka Smart tenure, and I've said this for a long time, he was really snake bitten early. He lost on a half-court shot in the NCAA tournament in his first year. He had nothing on his roster in the second year, and his leading scorer was kicked off the team. You're not going to build that. The hardest thing about this is you're not going to build a contender or a Big 12 contender around Jared Allen in his freshman year, or Mo Bamba in his freshman year, or Jackson Hayes in his freshman year. Jackson Hayes was raw as could be, but that's not. They aren't Zion Williamson. That's not who those guys are. They're good defenders that are going to be good NBA players on that front. And then his third year, obviously, they start fairly strong. And Andrew Jones, I mean, God bless, goes through everything he went through and gets leukemia. So his first 3 years, I just look at and go, man, he had a lot going against him. The problem is we're 2 years removed from that now, and they're still showing the signs of, there's not a whole lot of upward movement. They're 17-11 with an outside chance of making the NCAA tournament. And that's just not good enough. So it'll be interesting to see how this offseason plays out in terms of, is it something where he goes and tries to find a different job? Because obviously the money situation's a big issue right now. But when you're in year 5, regardless of what's gone against you, when you're in year 5 and you haven't won a tournament game, especially at a school like Texas, that's an issue.
All right, final question. We mentioned it before, you're a Missouri journalism alum. Little rivalry here because we're obviously Texas journalism people. But what's the better journalism school?
Oh, now listen, I think here's the hardest part of this is a lot of times this comes down to like Missouri, Syracuse, Northwestern, Arizona State has a good program. Right. Texas obviously has a good journalism program. I was telling the story last night when we interviewed our weekend anchor before Sarah Merrifield. She came in and she said, she had gone to Syracuse, and I said, where'd you go to school? And she said, Syracuse. And I said, now, do they have a journalism program? And she was kind of confused and looked at me, and she was like, yeah, the Newhouse School of Journalism. And I was like, oh, it's new? And she was like, looking at me like I was insane. She's like, you've never heard of the Newhouse School of Journalism? And I was like, oh, well, I went to Missouri, and there's only one journalism school in the world, and that's the University of Missouri. She was like, oh, I see where this is going. So, yeah, I think we're always going to say our own is the best. I think we're always going to believe that our own is the best, especially because we went there and we believe in it. Texas has a wonderful journalism program, and there are a lot of great students that are coming out of Texas. We have a couple interns right now. Jeff obviously went to Texas. Hema, our main anchor, went to Texas. So obviously there are a lot of great journalism. You're seeing me skirt around this like a good head coach.
I know. You're great at this.
Tough question.
You're great at this.
But if you want the factual answer, yes, of course, Missouri is the only journalism school in the country. But that's the fun part of rivalries and trying to talk trash.
Oh yeah. Well, Bob, thanks so much for joining us, and have a good rest of your weekend.
Yeah, y'all do the same, and it'll be a fun weekend to watch what Texas baseball can do this weekend.
Oh yeah. And when we come back, we are headed to the locker room. We are taking your questions from the crowd. Stick around. Welcome back into the 1-0 Sports Show, and it's time for everybody's favorite segment. Well, okay, we got the top place coming up in a second, but what's trending? What's been trending, first of all, our guy, Charles Amenahu, he's taking workouts to the next level. Check this out. Pushing a truck, and not just a stock truck, but look at that.
A little horsepower there.
Lifted. Yeah, good old GMC rugged truck. This is not a free it's not free advertising. GMC, but look at that.
If you can push a truck, you can push a lineman.
That's what they say. And I mean, Amenahu coming off a pretty good rookie season with the Texans, seeing if he can keep it up and push a truck. I mean, like you said, if you can push a truck, you can certainly push a lineman out of the way.
Now he's got to strip that tire now. Got to get a strip sack.
Yeah.
Well, if my team ended the season by blowing a 24-point lead, I'd probably be doing some pretty intense workouts.
Oh, no. Give the fellow a break.
All right, next thing. Joe Burrow, it's Combine week, and what do we like to do at the NFL Combine? We like to overreact to everything, and Joe Burrow's hand size was 9 inches. I don't know what that is, but he said that he's considering retirement now. I love Joe Burrow is just so good at just playing along with stuff. And it's been fun seeing like the media take different sides, and some people, was it maybe Colin Cowherd, who's like, we gotta pay. He's like, oh, okay, we gotta pay attention to these things.
Let's shift gears.
A 9-inch hand is not good. You know, back when I was with my former employer.
Perfect response by Burrow, I think.
Yes,
he brushed off any legitimacy to that concern in a great way. Showed off his personality, showed off his confidence. I love it.
And it was a big week for small-handed people like myself. I feel represented now. You know, if guys like Joe Burrow can do it, guys like us can make it.
Yeah.
Well, you are Joe Burrow.
We are Joe Burrow. All right, next up, the Astros. They're still stealing signs. Someone get the Astros a new PR person. At the spring training game, there were fans with signs. I think one of the best ones was the Houston Asterix, obviously. And they sent a representative to go and collect the signs.
No.
Oh, boy.
Someone think about this.
The optics.
Yeah,
people.
I mean, and this video from Christy Reich, and great tweet from Chris Dixon. He said Astros are still stealing signs, and now it's from the fans. I mean, think about things, guys. Think about things. Think about what it's going to look like. Not a good look.
No, not a good look.
As a Houstonian, though, I would like to point out that they are not the only ones stealing signs. Yankees and Red Sox.
Look, I didn't see their PR people in the crowd taking signs away.
Yeah, Astros PR is they're tanking. They are not hot this week.
Not hot this week. No, it's just been a bad off season for them.
No, I love a good pun. Stealing signs means you can steal signs all of a sudden. Not in this case. Stop stealing signs.
Stop it. Yeah, stop it.
Don't let the Astros PR people come out to college game day.
Yeah, take a sign and stop stealing signs. We're big. Too many puns. Let's get to our top plays of the week, and we're gonna start off with the top 3 bounces of the week. There's some pretty good bounces, and let's get started with this number 3. Malcolm Brogdon on the Pacers. Check this out. Shoots the 3. It's gonna go over the rim.
That's out of bounds.
Out of bounds, but it falls. I don't know if we're going to count that or not, but watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and in.
Paul Pierce is counting that.
He's counted that. Number 2, some Europa League soccer. Look at that, Lukaku.
Oh!
Oh, Scott Serling is smiling somewhere. The header, the block, the header again. I don't know if he was trying to do that, but it worked. Number one, I have to get some golf on this show, and may or may not have picked John Rahm in the golf pool last week. But look at that! Oh, one bounce and in for the Spaniard. Ace, the place with the helpful hardware folks.
Tell you what, he might win himself some helpful hardware with that one. that is solid right there.
We definitely planned that before the show. I just want to put that out there. But Rombo with the ace. He was excited about that. Now let's get to the top 3 plays of the week. And Zion,
where are you going?
Alan Smailagic.
Zion's not celebrating Mardi Gras.
No, he's watch this. Smailagic out of the screen. See ya. And I tell you what, Zion on a tear. Number 2, Trent Forrest.
On a poster.
On a poster. I mean, with the foul too. That's dirty.
That's far from the worst happened to Louisville this week.
That's true. Number 1, this one hurts me. It's against my Commodores, but Georgia.
Oh, put it up.
At the buzzer. Got it.
Ooh.
Got it.
Anchors are up.
Yeah.
Anchors away.
Anchors away. Sail the ships. Not a good season. Not a good season for Jerry Stackhouse.
Crazy comeback
Commodores.
in that game as a whole. They were down big.
Unreal. And it's almost March. It's almost March.
Yeah.
We're 2 days away because we have leap day. I almost called it leap year. It's not a whole year. It's just a day. But March coming up, and what's coming up after this? The best picks. We got all of them. I don't know if they'll be great. I don't know if they'll be right, but we'll have them. So
There you
stick
go.
around. Welcome back into the 100 Sports Show. Last time today, and it's prediction time.
Go.
A lot of action. We got XFL, we got NBA, NCAA basketball. Let's get started with the XFL. Some spread picks here, then we'll just go upright for the rest. First off, LA Wildcats, 7-point favorites, traveling all the way up to New York, playing the Guardians.
Still like the Wildcats in this one. The Guardians, they'll be without starting quarterback Matt McGloin. And a couple weeks ago, McGloin and his coach got into a public fight over the TV with McGloin trashing him in an interview, and then the coach coming back after halftime and speaking negatively about McGloin. So take the Wildcats in this one.
I agree with you there. I've got the LA Wildcats to cover here. The Guardians have really struggled to be consistent on offense, and the LA Wildcats, I thought, had a really nice breakthrough last week. They had a huge win over the DC Defenders, and I thought they really should have beaten Dallas in week 2 also. LA Wildcats, I think, are a little underrated. They'll come in and take care of business against the Guardians.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think LA is the team to get the win this week. Meanwhile, in St. Louis, the Battlehawks, capital B, capital H, one word, Battlehawks, another big spread. They were 10-point favorites last week. Now 11.5-point favorite against Jim Zorn, there it is, Jim Zorn and the Seattle Dragons. Adam?
Former Redskins great, Thomas.
That's right.
The Battlehawks at home, so I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take the Battlehawks in this one to cover. Jordan Ta'amu, remember him from Ole Miss. He's the second leading passer in the league. And Matt Jones from Florida, he's their leading rusher of the league. So I think there's just enough offense there where they can cover against the Seattle team.
Matt Jones, a former Redskin. Jake?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Matt Jones, former Redskin. Jim Zorn, former Redskin. I don't know. My loyalties are torn. I think 11.5 is a little too many here. I'm going to take the Seattle Dragons to cover. I do think the Battlehawks will probably win this game, but I'll take Seattle to cover that 11.5-point spread. I think they gained a lot of confidence last week. They looked very good in their home opener. The over-under for this game, only 38, and I just think Seattle has enough offense to score 2 touchdowns, so I think they'll cover.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jake. St. Louis, they did cover last week. I think it's pretty hard to believe that they would have 2 covering of double-digit spreads back-to-back. That'd be a lot. All right, we travel to the Lone Star State for a Lone Star showdown. Houston Roughnecks, 1-point favorite at the Dallas Renegades.
Gotta stick with my H-Town loyalties here and go with the Roughnecks. Plus, P.J. Walker, their quarterback, he's been a baller these first couple weeks. He was a star at Temple, and he's showing that he is the real deal.
Yeah, the Roughnecks are legit. The Roughnecks are very good on both sides of the ball, and I'll take them to beat the Renegades because of the defensive pressure they can get. They average 3 sacks a game, the Roughnecks do, and the Renegades have had nothing but trouble up front trying to protect Landry Jones. I expect a lot of points in this game, and because of those sacks and QB pressures, the Roughnecks will come out on top.
I got the upset here. I think Dallas is going to find a way to pull it off, and that's just because I don't want to pick Houston. sorry.
That's only a 1-point favorite. So
only a 1-point
anything
favorite.
can happen.
Yeah, basically a pick 'em. All right, next, America's team, the best football team in Washington, D.C., the D.C. Defenders, 2.5-point favorites.
Protect the shield.
Protect the shield. They travel down to Tampa Bay.
This one's almost a toss-up at 2.5 points. So I'm going to take the Vipers at home, even though they're 0-3. They hung with the Roughnecks last week, and so I think this is the week they'll finally get that first XFL win.
Not so fast, my friend. DC Defenders, -2.5. Lock it up. That's a win. The Tampa Bay Vipers, to me, have looked like a mess every time I've seen them. Mark Trestman's offense not really working. No consistency at the quarterback position. Aaron Murray may be coming back this week, but he'll have to shake off some rust if he does. Obviously, Quentin Flowers just left the team. Nobody knows what's going on in Tampa. They were already getting booed on their home field in Week 3. Maybe they come out and respond, but I think we'll see the DC Defenders team of Weeks 1 and 2 rather than Week 3. I like Cardale and the Defenders to rebound.
Yeah, and even if Aaron Murray is back, he didn't look great when he was playing, and I agree with you. I think this is a rebound week for the Defenders. All right, let's move to the NBA. Friday night, Denver Nuggets traveling to Los Angeles playing the Clippers.
Yeah, this is a massive game out in the West. The Nuggets are only 1 game ahead of the Clippers, and so they got to travel into LA on primetime ESPN on a Friday night. I'm actually going to go with the Nuggets here. I think Jokic and Millsap inside, I think they can make enough plays. I think the Nuggets are going to want to prove that even though they're a small market team, they are going to be a force in the West come playoff time. So I'm going to go with the Nuggets in an upset here.
Wow, yeah, this one's a little bit of a toss-up for me, too. I think 5.5 points is the spread in favor of the Clippers. I think that might be too many, but I am going to pick the Clippers to win this game outright. I think Paul George will be available. Clippers not playing the day before. I don't know how the Clippers are going to stop Jokic, but I don't know how the Nuggets are going to stop George and Kawhi. Big game for seeding in the West, like you said. I'll take LA to defend their home court.
Yeah, and the Clips they're pretty hot right now. They're back to full health, which is something they've been back and forth all season. I think you got to take the Clips. Then on Saturday night, Houston Rockets traveling up to Boston playing the Celtics.
Gotta go with the H-Town loyalties again here. I'm going to go with the Rockets. Westbrook and Harden, they're coming off 63 points combined last time out. So I think the Rockets, it's tough going up to Boston on the road, but I think they've got enough momentum that they'll take this one in a real close one.
Yeah, this one should be fun. Should be a lot of points. And the Rockets, man, I mean, their small ball has been it's gone way better than I've expected it to. You got to give them credit. But I'm going to go with the Celtics here. I just don't want to pick against Jason Tatum right now. I think he's a man possessed, and he will carry the Celtics to this victory.
Y'all know me. I'm not going to pick Houston. And it's just not going to happen. And another game with the team that I'm probably not going to pick, number 20 West Virginia against Oklahoma. West Virginia finally at home. They've been struggling on the road.
Yeah, they're awful on the road, but they're good at home. And I think Press Virginia will come out. They'll force Oklahoma into some turnovers. Both teams really need this game. Oklahoma trying to get in the tournament. West Virginia on a slide, trying to get some momentum before the tournament. So I think with West Virginia at home, they turn around and they'll take this one.
Yeah, I agree with you there. If this game was in Norman, I might be picking the Sooners because West Virginia just woeful on the road. But I think that Bob Huggins will get his team refocused after that disaster in Austin on Monday night. I've got West Virginia in a close one over OU. They need this game.
Yeah, West Virginia's going to be mad coming home, and we got 3 West Virginias on the board. Let's now travel to the Big Ten. This is a big matchup. Number 9, Maryland. We were talking about them. They just had to play 19-minute last 45 seconds of a game. But now they're playing the red-hot Michigan State Spartans, who are back in the top 25 for the first time in a little over a month.
I've got the Terrapins in this one. They're undefeated at home this year, 15-0 at home. They got College game day coming into town. They've got the momentum coming off that comeback. I think that all comes together. It'll be a really good game because these are 2 really hot teams. But I think Maryland takes the edge thanks to that hometown advantage.
Yeah, I mean, both of these teams almost mirror images. They've got a couple of stars, and a lot of role players. And the difference, I think, is that the Maryland role players have been stepping up lately, whereas the Michigan State role players have been pretty inconsistent, especially when they've gone away from East Lansing. I've got the Terrapins here as well. I love the way Aaron Wiggins, Daryl Morsell, and Eric Ayala are playing right now. Give me the Terps defending their home court.
Not so fast.
Oh!
I mean, I said it. Michigan State, they're red hot. I like them in this one, but we'll see what happens. All right, traveling to the SEC, another good in-conference matchup. Number 8 Kentucky at home in Rupp Arena against number 15 Auburn.
Yeah, and again, I think the fact that it's at Rupp Arena, that is a big deal because Kentucky, they've won 7 games in a row. The last 2 times Auburn was on the road, they lost to unranked Missouri and they lost to unranked Georgia. Emmanuel quickly, Kentucky's top player, he's coming off a 30-point game against Texas A&M last time out. I think Kentucky rides that momentum and they win it at Rope.
Well, all winning streaks must come to an end. I'm thinking Kentucky's comes to an end on Saturday. I like Auburn in a road upset. They won the first meeting in the jungle against Kentucky. Auburn hasn't been so great on the road lately, but they have Isaac Okoro back. That's going to help them on the defensive end. I've got the Tigers pulling the upset.
Another not so fast for me, although you have a lot more stats. I just like Kentucky. All right, another Lone Star showdown. Last game, Texas traveling to Lubbock. Horns trying to do whatever they can do to make the tournament, and the Red Raiders are trying to boost their seed preference. Adam, who you got?
Well, as Lee Corso says, this is strictly business. And I think the Longhorns are going to have a really tough time going up to Lubbock without Sims, without Jace Febres, without Kamaka Hepa possibly, without Gerald Liddell. I think too many pieces are missing. It's tough to go win up in Lubbock. I think the Red Raiders are going to squeak this one out.
Yeah, obviously last time Texas played Texas Tech, they suffered those injuries, suffered that huge letdown, blew a 16-point lead. The reality is Texas Tech did not play anywhere close to their capabilities in that game, and they were still able to squeak by Texas at the Frank Irwin Center. I don't think it'll be as close on Saturday. I've got Texas Tech.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. As much as we want to say it, I think this is a game for Tech. But again, we'll see what happens. That's what we like to say on this show.
Mm-hmm. Hey, don't doubt Shaka Smart.
Don't doubt Shaka Smart. That's all we have for you today. Thanks for tuning in on your Friday morning, and for everyone in Master Control and studio. I'm Thomas Fitz, joined alongside Adam Ogburn, Jake Herman. Have a good weekend.